Okay, so continuing from verse 18, chapter 1 verse 18, tunaendelea. Paul anasema kwamba for the wrath of God, or the judgment of God, is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and righteousness of men who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. By their unrighteousness wanna suppress the truth. So people who, like, this is like saying that people who sin, watu wanaotenda dhambi wanapenda kujijustify kwa vitu wanavyovifanya, alafu wanakataa ukweli. So he says that for what can be known about God is plain to them. This used to be my favorite Bible verse. I just love how he talks about God. Kwamba I think people all over the world, the excuse has been that we do not see God. I cannot worship a God that I do not see. I have to see God. He has to be visible for me to worship. I need to know what I worship. But Paul anakataa hiyo judgment na anasema kwamba for what can be known about God, kile cha kujulikana kuhusu Mungu, it is plain, it is visible to them because God has shown it to them. So them is us. Although he's talking about Wakristo wa zamani, Agano la Kale, but them is like us. So the nature of God, the truth about God, kitu chochote tunachotaka kujua kuhusu Mungu is visible to us kwa kuangalia hata his creation, the things he's created, hata sisi wanadamu alivyotuumba, we get a glimpse of God because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power, divine nature, has clearly been perceived ever since the creation of the world. Let me repeat that. For his invisible attributes, vitu vya Mungu ambao havionekani, namely his eternal power, nguvu yake, and divine nature has been clearly perceived, inaonekanika ever since the creation of the world. Tangia kuumbwa kwa dunia, through creation. Anaendelea kusema in the things that have been made. Creation yenyewe inamuongelea Mungu. Tukiangalia uumbaji is enough to see the picture of God. God doesn't need to explain himself. He has put creation before our eyes, and if we are humble enough to look and believe that God is the one who created this, and because the Holy Spirit is always witnessing inside our hearts, whether we like it or not, to the Christians, to the non-Christians, to the believers, and to the non-believers, is always witnessing in our hearts. But this creation attests of God, talks about God. So it's for us to accept it really and choose and accept to see God who is behind the creation. And tukiongelea the issue of the nature of God being revealed, one story that comes to mind ni kitabu nilisoma cha mtu anaitwa Chambers. Kitabu chake inaitwa Witness. It's about his conversion from communism. He was a communist spy to Christianity. So according to him, the point that brought him to realize that there is a God was one day alikuwa amekaa kwenye meza, yuko na katoto chake cha miaka miwili, na mtoto wake alikuwa yuko on the table messy, eating up, playing with food and everything, and he was just drawn into looking at his daughter. And alivyokuwa anamwangalia mtoto wake, akaangalia sikio lake, na alivyoona sikio lake, he was so amazed, like how complex this organ is. Jinsi sikio lilivyokaa lilikuwa ajabu sana kwake. Its function, the way it's created, it was such a strange thing to him. Mpaka akasema there is no way this thing is as a result of the Big Bang Theory, evolution of man. No, there is a God who created a child. There is a God who created this child, and I want to worship that God. So mkono kama mkono, viganja vyetu tukiviangalia, and the wide functionality that it has, it could only be created by a good God who is in heaven. This is not the work of Big Bang Theory, the evolution of man coming from apes and all that. No, this could only be created by a good God. Think about how a hand can focus into writing. At the same time, it can grab, it can hold into things, and at the same time, it can be very still and even put a thread in a needle. For me, I mean, this speaks of God. Mungu tu ndo angeweza to create such a machinery like that. And I think other parts of the body could have a single or two functions, but the hand has a lot of functions. So for me, the hand does it. It attests of God, the creation of God. Kwa anasema kwamba for his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. So they are without excuse. Sisi, we are without excuse that God does not exist. Kwa maana hii ndo hoja ya watu wengi wa kidunia. Wanasema unamwabudu Mungu usiyemuona, huyo Mungu gani huyo? Kwamba because this has been the excuse ya watu wengi wa kidunia kwamba well, you're delusional. Wanatuita Wakristo we're delusional. We worship a God that we do not see. How can you worship a God that you do not touch, you do not feel? Paul anaendelea kusema, for although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but became futile in their thinking. So kwa kumkataa kwao Yesu, kwa kumkataa kwao Mungu, because when they looked at the creation, it spoke about God. It shouted and screamed that God is the one who made this. There is a God. There is only one God, not many. There is one God who made everything. So they knew that, but in their hearts wakakataa. And it's the same thing that is happening right now. Watu wengi wa kidunia wanaona evidence ya Mungu when they go to nature and everything. They see, lakini they harden their hearts. Wanafanya mioyo yao kuwa migumu. So Paul anasema, so they are without excuse. They are without excuse. Hawatakuwa na kitu cha kujitetea siku moja mbele ya Mungu. For although they knew God, they did not honor God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking and their foolish hearts were darkened. So this is the procession. Wameona uzuri wa Mungu, wamemwona Mungu, wamefikiwa na Injili. Na hata watu wa sasa hivi, for us people who live at this time, at the age of grace, let's start with non-Christians. They will be judged mara mbili kwa maana they saw the creation that attested of God, but they chose to harden their hearts. And the second thing ni kwamba Injili iliwafikia. Hata kama hamna mtu alienda kuwafuata kwa ubiria, they came across it. They came across kwa maana Injili imeenea sana. So watakuwa judged mara mbili. Kwanza, you rejected God just by seeing him and even the Holy Spirit witnessing inside you. But ya pili ni kwamba wamemkataa Yesu ambao amehubiriwa kwao. So watakuwa judged mara mbili. So this is the procession tunaona kwamba baada ya kumkataa Mungu, they became futile in their thinking. After the next thing, their hearts were darkened, mioyo yao ikawa na giza. Na hichi ndo kinachomtokea mtu wa kidunia. Akimkataa Mungu, moyo wake unaingia giza automatically, because a place that is void, the devil has to come and fill. And claiming to be wise, they became foolish. Kwa kuclaim kwamba sisi we are right, we can't worship a God that we do not know, wakaishia kuwa wapumbavu, kukawafanya kuwa wapumbavu. Kumkataa Kristo kukawafanya watu kuwa wapumbavu. And exchanged the glory of the immortal God with images resembling mortal man, birds, animals and creeping things. Kwa hiyo baada ya hapo, kwa kumkataa Mungu, wakaanza kutenda dhambi na kufanya vitu vya aibu na wakajijustify. Even with the issue of homosexuality, I'm sure Holy Spirit witnesses in the hearts of men and women about, this is not how you were created, but wewe unakataa, you stick to your own arguments, and in that you become foolish. Umekataa truth, umemkataa Yesu, or you end up becoming foolish. You thought you would be wise, but actually you are foolish. That's the sad thing. God gave them up. So God gives them up. And another example ni kwenye story ya Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, after seeing that the boys didn't burn, he did not stop worshiping his own gods. He continued worshiping his God. So sometimes God calculates. He knows that these people, no matter how much I reveal myself to them, no matter how many times I reveal myself to them, they will still stick to their ways. They will still worship their own God. So God gave them up. So God gives them up. But don't let God give up on you. Kama unasikia sauti hii, ni Injili imekufikia, so you are without excuse mbele za Mungu. Come to Christ. Mfuate Kristo. Kubali kuokoka. Usiachwe nyuma